My friend, if you're struggling finding, vetting, training, and managing virtual team members for your real estate business, I have the solution for you. Call Magicians is the premier virtual assistant company in the real estate industry. And basically, what they'll do is allow you to focus on closing more deals and doing the things you love while they handle the work for you. Head over to callmagicians.com and see if you're a good fit to work together. And make sure you use the promo code FLIPEMPIRE for a 20% discount off your startup fee. And by the way, the owner's a friend of mine and shares tons of value, gives a lot of useful tips on episode 540. So check it out at flipempire.com/540.
You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
Hey, Alex Pardo here. Excited to come at you with episode 579 on the Flip Empire show. And my friend, let's just dive right into it. I actually just got back from my morning gratitude walk. And one of the things I just expressed some gratitude is for you, is for this platform, is for the Flip Empire show and for the growth. And I was reflecting back on my day yesterday. So yesterday, one of our Ascend members, one of my friends and coaching clients, Anthony Kuski, drove down to Miami, and we did a deep dive day. That's one of the benefits, one of the experiences that our members get, and we did a golf day, and that was just a lot of fun. You know, if you heard one of the last few episodes, you heard how golfing on a weekly basis has been part of my vision for a while, and I truly believe, I think one of the things that sets this podcast aside from, or sets this podcast out from others is that I give you the real. I tell you what's going on. I give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I share the wins. I share the losses. And I also share where I'm struggling. And that was an example of just me not honoring my vision, right? And so as with anything, one of the things when I have an awareness about something, I'm instantly triggered to do something in that moment immediately to get some momentum, to get me going in the direction of what I want to do. So I immediately, reached out to some people. Anthony happened to hear the podcast and said, "Hey man, I'd love to play some golf." And so I'm so grateful, not just for this, but for the ability to coach incredible people like Anthony. And to have an inside look, to be able to look under the hood of successful entrepreneurs' businesses and find out what are the pain points, find out what are the challenges and the struggles. And oftentimes it's things that really kind of that many entrepreneurs experience. You know, one of the things, and obviously without getting into any of his details because that's confidential and private, but you know, one of the things as we were talking yesterday during golf in between holes is I could relate. I could resonate with what he was going through and some of the challenges he was having. And so I want to kind of just take a step back and I want to speak to a challenge that I think a lot of entrepreneurs face is, you know, as an entrepreneur, you're put in a position of leadership. You're put in a position where you need to cast a vision wide enough so that other people's visions, other people's goals can fit under the umbrella and under the bucket of your vision. And being an entrepreneur requires you to lead people. It requires you to hire, train, manage, and hopefully once if you've ascended into the position of being the visionary, you have somebody like a chief operating officer or like an integrator, someone that can manage people for you, and then they report to you, right? It's the difference between kind of being a one-man, one-woman show, having a very small team, or having an organization. And when I say organization, I'm not talking about the size of the business as far as revenue, and I'm not even talking about the number of people. I know so many entrepreneurs out there that have 2, 3, 4 man or women teams that absolutely smash it and generate significantly more revenue and more importantly, net income than organizations out there that have 20, 30 people, and their margins are just so compressed, and they might have a healthy top line revenue in most people's standards, but they're not making a whole lot. So don't get it twisted. Don't get confused and equate that the size of the organization, the revenue generated necessarily means success, because it doesn't. But I think the challenge that I want to speak to is holding on too long, particularly when it comes to team members, particularly when it comes to employees in your business. Uh, I find that generally speaking, people that have big hearts, people that are givers, people that want to uplift people and see them succeed, sometimes they hold on too long when they know it's not the right fit. You know, Jim Collins is a fantastic author, and he's known for a great book that he authored called Good to Great. And in that book, I highly encourage you to read it, by the way. He talks about the importance of making sure that you have the right people on the right bus and in the right seat. And it's critical that you have all three of those components. It's not good enough to just have two of the three, and it's certainly not okay to have even one of the three. You have to have all three. You have to make sure you have the right person on the right bus in the right seat. And one of the things that I've been guilty of in the past, when I look back at when I've been put in a position of leadership, and I'm always in a position of leadership, right? I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an entrepreneur. I obviously Steve and I run Ascend. I mean, regardless of what you're involved in, you're also in a position of leadership. Whether you realize it or not, people are looking at you. People are noticing what you're saying, and more importantly, they're watching what you're doing. And so we're all in a position of leadership, and to varying degrees. And when I look back at, for example, the wholesaling business that I ran and operated here for many, many years in South Florida, and I look back at a lot of the great team members we've had, and I'm so grateful and fortunate for every single one of them, because they taught me a lot. Every single one of the people I've had the opportunity to lead and work with side by side, I learned a lot from, and I would hope that they would say that they learned a lot from me as well. If you find yourself in a position in where you have a team, maybe you just have one virtual assistant, maybe you have an entire organization of acquisitions managers, dispositions managers, transaction coordinators, callers, texters, runners, everything in between. One of the things you need to be doing is not just take stock and inventory on your strengths and weaknesses, your goals, where you fell short, what skills you need to acquire, who you need to surround yourself with, but you also need to take stock and inventory on each and every single one of your team members. And if you know in your gut, if you know in your heart of hearts that you have significant questions about whether somebody belongs in your organization, or maybe it's to a lesser degree, you're not sure if they belong in that seat, I implore you to act quickly and swiftly and figure out what needs to get done, because what you might be doing is just delaying the inevitable. In other words, if you know that, first of all, if somebody just doesn't belong in your organization because it's not a core value fit, or because there's a lack of integrity, or because they're violating one of your core values, maybe they just don't have the competency or the skills, then you definitely need to make a move. And when you get to kind of the decision tree, one of the things I always do is I ask myself, okay, is it a core value fit? Is it a culture fit? Yes. Okay, so that means they could belong in the organization. Now, where is the best fit for them based on their personality, based on their skill set, based on just their core competencies? Does that align with the position they're in? If it is, great. Then you got to go on to step 3 and evaluate, where are you dissatisfied? Where are they not hitting their key performance indicators, or is there a lack of accountability? Right. One of my coaches and mentors years ago, I remember I had a coaching call, and I had a particular challenge with one of my team members, and I couldn't get him to follow through on what he would tell me he would do. And I was sharing with my coach. I said, I'm having a hard time holding this person accountable. And he just kind of paused, and I knew something was coming. And he goes, if you want to hold people, I'm trying to figure out exactly how he said it, because it hit me right between the eyes. He basically said, if you want people that are going to hold themselves accountable, hire people that are going to hold themselves accountable. And it was so basic, it was so simple, and yet it was so direct and hit me right between the eyes, because I was hiring people that needed me to hold their hand, that needed me to check up on them. And I'm not a micromanager. That is not my style. I don't enjoy that. And if I ever get the sense that I need to be following up on people, it's usually an indication that there's a lack of accountability there, whether it's on our part, whether it's built-in accountability through their environment, through their peers, through their team members, or it's just the fact that they don't hold themselves accountable. So in wrapping here, I really want to urge you to look at every single one of your team members and do an analysis. You know, one of the things that we did when we were operating under EOS is every single quarter we would do a review. And we had a document in which they would rate themselves in certain areas. I would rate them in certain areas. And then we'd have a very open and direct dialogue. You know, it was a very unfiltered conversation where it was set from the beginning that anything and everything can be shared. And I don't want you to feel like you're going to insult me or vice versa. I want us to be very honest and brutally honest with each other. Where do you feel you're thriving? Where do you feel you're failing? Do you feel there's a lack of support in an area? How can I support you better? How can the team support you better? And then I would just be brutally honest with them, and I would give them an honest assessment. And I think they deserve that, because without that feedback, how do they know areas where they need to grow? Really, what I want you to take away from this is if you know in your heart of hearts that somebody on your team doesn't belong, ask yourself why you're accepting mediocrity. Why is it that you're delaying the inevitable? And then I want to implore you to act swiftly and quickly, right? And if there's any type of like violation of core values, integrity, honesty, anything like that, then that's a zero tolerance policy. Like zero. Do not allow a bad apple in your business, because it can infect the entire thing. And then if they pass that first sniff test, ask yourself, have you put them in the best position to succeed? Have you given them all the tools, the training? Are they in the right seat, or is there a lateral move? Do you need to shift where their focus is? And then ask yourself, is this the type of person that's going to follow through on what they say they're going to do? Are they going to follow the system? Are they going to hold themselves accountable to hitting their KPIs, hitting their numbers? And then understand that their success and their failure, if they fail, it's on you. It's not on them. Why? Because you're the visionary, you're the entrepreneur, you're the leader. You put them in that position. And so you need to look at yourself in the mirror, accept responsibility, learn from it, make a move, and go from there. So hopefully, hopefully some of this just kind of you can relate to what I'm going through, because I find that, or not what I'm going through, but what I've been through and what a lot of entrepreneurs go through is you have a heart for giving. You want to uplift people. You want to see people grow and succeed, and you give them every opportunity. But sometimes we just accept mediocrity, and that's not good enough. If you accept mediocrity, you're going to have a mediocre business. If you accept average in your life, you're going to have an average life. And I think it's Tony Robbins or one of these guys that says, average is the enemy of greatness. And we all need to be striving for greatness day in, day out. Every single morning, you want to wake up pursuing greatness, pursuing your greatness, not somebody else's, because we all have different gifts and talents. So that's what I want to leave you with. If you're not subscribed to the Flip Empire Show, make sure you are. flipempire.com/podcast. And then if you have any interest in connecting with Steve and I about ascendyoursuccess.com is the best place to do that. Other than that, have an amazing day. Look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Take care, my friend. Hope you enjoyed that episode. But before you go, I've had a lot of people recently reach out to me wanting to learn more about Ascend, wanting to understand how the mastermind component works, how the coaching relationship works. And so right now we're actually on a waiting list. But what I would encourage you to do is, if you think you're the right fit and you think you could benefit from being a part of our community, head over to ascendyoursuccess.com, watch the short video, and then just click the apply to join button below. And then we'll be in contact with you if and when a spot opens up. So really appreciate you listening to Flip Empire here, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next show. Take care.